Hi there, everyone. Josh Rugger here with the latest information on a potential winter weather event this Thursday, along with that Arctic blast. We've been talking about it over the last few days, and it's almost here, just on the horizon now. We'll have one more day of nice and dry weather here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley as we move throughout your Wednesday. But Thursday is going to be a completely different story, and really throughout the holiday weekend as well, as temperatures are going to plummet. We're going to see a winter weather system move through the area as well. So a lot to discuss. I'm going to get to as many questions as possible. Remember, I do have to get off at about 9 because I have the Fox show. So I'm going to try and answer as many questions as possible. But first, I'm going to go through the latest data because we've had a few changes to the forecast. I've also got my snowfall accumulation map as well. I'm going to show you, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's get to the graphics because that's what you want to see. And here you go, satellite and radar. There's the low pressure system off in the Pacific Northwest, beginning to move slowly to the southeast, and that's going to bring our winter weather potential. Now, again, I've been talking about this over the last few days. Unorthodox, really, system in terms of where it's coming from for us to get winter precipitation. Normally, a lot of the times, we've already had an Arctic front move through. We've got the cold air in place, and then a low pressure system churns out from the southwest and taps into that Gulf moisture and allows us to see that winter precipitation. But that's not going to be the case with this system. This system's going to start in the northwest and then drift to the southeast towards northwest Arkansas. So again, not the system or the typical path of a system that causes significant winter weather impacts. However, this system could throw us a curveball. And here's the reason why I think it could throw us a curveball. So here's the low pressure system on water vapor. You can see the trough really beginning to dig southeast as that jet stream pattern begins to pump that Siberian air to the south. But look at these little subtle pieces of energy here that are showing up on water vapor. I've outlined them right there. And that right there is what that could enhance our precipitation chances a little bit. These little subtle pieces of energy can swing in and they can tap into the environment and interact with this slow pressure system. And this can cause, our accumulations to perhaps be a little bit higher than what we have forecasted. Now, do I think it's going to be significantly higher than what we have forecasted from what I'm going to show you? I don't think so. But these little pieces of energy are what we need to watch closely because they could enhance our precipitation chances across the entire area as the main upper level low shifts to the southeast towards our area. All right, so that's the kind of the setup for the system that's moving through. Now, let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this other graphic here, and we're going to start from the top. So here it is. Here's the jet stream pattern. That system diving to the southeast. It's like a bucket, right? It's like the cold air to our north is kind of like a bucket. And once that jet stream buckles, the bucket spills over, and that bucket is spilling over cold air into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. You can see it here on the jet stream as well. There's that low pressure system too, swinging off to the northeast. Blizzard conditions expected in the Great Lakes region with this system, and we could have blizzard-like conditions, and I'll tell you why that is in just a moment. All right, so here's the temperature model. Now we finally got those higher resolution models moving in, doing a much better job as expected with the timing of the cold air. Look at this, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. I'll tell you this right now. The European model, which was what I was showing the last few days when I was doing these Facebook Lives, is showing temperatures in the middle to upper 40s out ahead of the system. That was not going to happen. And guess what? Now you've got the higher res models in. They can pick up on things a little bit better. And as you can see, those temperatures are quite a bit colder to start out. So here comes the front. And out ahead of the front will be just a touch above freezing at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in northwest Arkansas. But these temperatures are going to drop off quick. Once that front pushes through, boom, we're down into the teens, single digits by 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Wind chills already below zero in most of northwest Arkansas, starting to get there in the River Valley as well. And then 3, 4 o'clock on Thursday, we're sitting at 0 degrees in some locations with wind chill values between 20 to 25 below zero. This is really a cold snap that we don't typically see this early in winter. And I'll tell you what, this is dangerous. This is something that could impact your life. And that's why I've been saying over the last few days, the time to prepare is now. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, it's going to be too late. Get those pipes insulated, get the faucets dripping, bring your pets inside, bring your plants inside and check on your neighbors because this is a system that could impact your life. So it's certainly something that we're going to have to watch. And it's not just going to be for Thursday, right? These temperatures are going to continue into Thursday night. We're going to have temperatures well below zero in Northwest Arkansas. Look at that, 4 below in Bentonville and Rogers at 10 o'clock. Wind chill values near 30 below just to the in Southwest Missouri. And then the River Valley will be in the single digits as well. Now look at this. The model can only go out to 12 o'clock on Friday. We're still sitting at single digits in Northwest Arkansas in terms of air temperatures, and the wind chill values are still between 10 to 15 degrees below zero. So yeah, that's cold, that's bitter, and it's a long-lasting little cold spell that we're going to have here. You can't avoid it, no matter what, in terms of the timing of the cold air and how it could impact you during the day. So again, layer up if you must step outside. The reason why those wind chills are also going to be even more brutal is because the winds are going to be so gusty. Once that front pushes through, those winds are going to be out of the north at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. We could have gusts up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And guess what, folks? That's why it's not a blizzard, right? It's not a blizzard, but it's blizzard-like in the sense that we could have, wind gusts that are 35, 40 miles per hour for a brief period of time with blowing snow, with visibilities reduced to a quarter of a mile because this is such a powdery snow. And that's why this system could impact travel significantly. And it may not just impact travel on Thursday. It could impact travel on Friday because we're going to have that snow on the ground in Northwest Arkansas, and the winds are still blowing at 25, 30 miles per hour during the day on Friday. So visibilities could be reduced for an extended period of time here in Northwest Arkansas. So certainly something that you need to be aware of as well. Okay, what everybody wants to know. What are we expecting in terms of the timing of the system, all right? Well, I've got some really rough news to say right now. I think with those little pieces of energy out ahead of the system, I think we're going to see drizzle. Late Wednesday night to Thursday morning around 3, 4 o'clock. That's bad. We don't want that. We do not need drizzle to fall, and I'll tell you why. This is the type of system that could cause a flash freeze. We typically do not see that in Northwest Arkansas. In fact, we haven't seen a flash freeze since I've moved up here back in 2013. This is concerning because you get a little bit of rain out ahead of that system. It falls, it gets on the roadways, and then the temperatures drop like that. That's bad because that's like a sheet of ice that's just along the roadways there. And that would seriously impact travel. In fact, potentially make it impossible in some spots. So we're keeping our fingers crossed drizzle doesn't happen out ahead of the system. And you might want to keep your fingers crossed that doesn't happen as well, because that would be terrible if that happened. That's really would be more impactful than the snow amounts that we'll see, which, as you can see, is about 1 to 4 inches. So not a ton of snow expected at this current time, but enough snow where we can have blowing snow, we can have visibilities reduced to less than a quarter of a mile, and then things get crazy, right? So this is mainly a Northwest Arkansas event. I'll answer that question right now because I'm assuming we're going to have questions about that. River Valley, I don't think is going to get impacted too badly by this system. Now, I do think there will be some snow that falls, but I think the timing of the cold air and the track of the system does not favor a lot of snow in the River Valley. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit, such as a dusting, to happen to snow in the River Valley. I think this is mostly a Northwest Arkansas event. If you live in Benton County, you're going to get the brunt of this. Southwest Missouri, Benton County, you're going to get the brunt of this system. Washington County, I still think it's a little up in the air on what we get. We could either get about an inch or we could get 3 to 4 inches. It just depends on the track of the system. So, excuse me. I do think we will see travel impacts though across a lot of Northwest Arkansas. So that's the timing of the system. Now let's go through some models. Let's go ahead and start off with the graph model because I honestly think this is the best model, but that's just me. No model is really better than the other. But you notice here the system moving in right around 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Could have a little bit of drizzle, like I said, out ahead of it. Notice temperatures just a touch above freezing in Northwest Arkansas. But look at that in Grove and Anderson and Cassville already in the lower 20s. These temperatures are going to be dropping off quick. So because of how quickly this system moves in, I do think we'll see a little bit of sleet. A little bit of winter mix very early Thursday morning. But that's going to quickly change over to snow. The reason why, because the speed of the system, the strength of the system, the column of air above the surface will not hit freezing until about 7, 8 o'clock. So it's going to be a brief period of sleet and snow, changing over to all snow after that fairly quickly. So there it is right there, 6 o'clock. You got a little bit of sleet and snow to begin to develop. And look at that. Temperatures just drop off like a rock. Now at 10 o'clock, the entire coverage area is now below freezing. And you see this little heavier bands of snow beginning to develop there. That could enhance snowfall totals just a little bit. And at least the graph model does have that heavy band of snow moving through Benton County. But notice how in the River Valley, a little bit more spotty in nature in terms of those snow showers. I think it's going to be a little up in the air if we see that much. But watch how quickly this system pushes out. By 2 o'clock, boom, it's already starting to move out of the area. Temperatures at a toasty 1 degree in Bentonville and Rogers. We're sitting in the teens in the River Valley. 1 below zero in Cassville at 2 o'clock. And then by about 3, 4 o'clock, I think most of the snow's out of here, though we could see a lingering snow shower too. And look at those temperatures, just brutally cold behind that front as it pushes through. What about accumulations, right? That's what everybody wants to know. Well, here's some various computer runs. These are, I don't think, updated yet, but they soon will be a little bit later on this evening. But I thought it was interesting looking at this. The graph model, oh, Siri's trying to talk to me. The graph model, which is a higher resolution model, has quite a bit more snow than the other models do. And it might be picking up on those little subtle pieces of energy. These are what the higher res models can pick up on. They can pick up on those little short waves that move through. And I think the graph is picking up on that. However, it is just one model, and I haven't seen the other higher resolution models yet. But we'll look at them real quick as well in this Facebook Live. But there's a graph. It's got 2 to 4 inches of snow in northwest Arkansas, as you can see there. Again, a dusting in the River Valley. Again, I just don't know about the River Valley. I don't know if there will be that much, south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. But again, these systems can throw a curveball. European model, which is a longer range model, which is not as high res. It's a little bit lower res than the graph model. Still shows 1 to 3 inch amounts across northwest Arkansas. But notice that the main bulk of the snow is in the Benton County, Carroll County area, towards Boone County as well. That's what the European is showing. GFS is showing that as well. The NAM model a little bit more aggressive with the southern extent with the snow, but I don't know if I buy that quite yet, just because of the track of the system. But again, it does show a little bit more snow for the River Valley. But one thing, and this is a question for the audience out there. What's one thing you notice with every single one of these models for northwest Arkansas? What's the one thing that every single one of these models show? It's a trick. It's not a trick question. It's an easy question. I'm gonna let somebody see if they answer it real quick. What's the one thing that every single one of these models show? All right, Sherry got it. Snow. Justin, you got it too. Snow. Every single one of these shows snow. Right now, the amounts of snow, right, are, fluctuate a little bit, and not all of them show as much snow, but every single one of them shows snow. I'm very confident that we are going to see snow in northwest Arkansas in some form or fashion. The amounts are what's up in the air. And I'm going to continue to be conservative with my snowfall totals right now. And that's why I've made this map here. And I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see this is my forecast for what we're going to see in northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Subject to change, right? But I think the majority of the snow is going to be north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, okay? And then once you get north of Mountainburg towards St. Paul, Jasper, Fayetteville, that's where I think 1 to 2 inches of snow will be possible. Locally higher amounts, obviously a thing if we get a little bit of banding. But then you get north of Fayetteville towards the Benton County area. I think this is ground zero for a good amount of snow, right? So if you're in Benton County, out towards Boone County, this is where I think the brunt of the precipitation will be in southwest Missouri as well, near the Cassville area in Anderson. 4 to 5 inches of snow just to the north of there. Notice how tight these gradients are. You go a little bit further north, you will see a lot more snow. And so that's why this is such a difficult forecast, because we just don't know where the heaviest bands of snow are going to set up. I still think we could get a dusting to a half inch of snow in the River Valley, and of course, subject to change. But check this out. Blowing snow very likely in the Benton County area. Once you get north on Interstate 49, get near Bentonville, Rogers, just to the north of Springdale, Bella Vista especially. Blowing snow is a huge concern right now. Just a little bit south of there into the Washington County area, into the higher terrain of northwest Arkansas, I still think blowing snow is possible, but because the accumulations will be a little bit less, it won't be as impactful, but still will have some impacts. And for your River Valley folks out there, I do include this. I would not be surprised to see a location get an isolated 1-inch amount. Okay, so again, there's quite a bit of uncertainty right now with the extent of everything. But again, here's the winter weather severity index, and you can see this thing changes, by the way, like every 5 minutes. Just a moment ago, it was showing moderate impacts. Now it's showing just minor. Expect impacts to the roads and expect them to be very, very impactful, right, for our area, because of the threat of a flash freeze, especially if we get a little bit of drizzle out ahead of the system, because of the blowing snow threat, and because of how dangerous those temperatures are going to be. Just look at this map and assume from here, right around the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, north, that you're under either minor or moderate impacts, in my opinion. I think moderate impacts is what we're going to see in northwest Arkansas, a little bit south of there, limited to minor impacts for sure. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this map up here so everybody can see it if you just tuned in, and now I'm gonna answer some questions. All right, because I know a lot of people have questions, and I am going to work hard to answer all of them. What time will we start getting snow on Thursday? I think around 5-6 o'clock was when the first little wave could move through Penny. It could be a little bit of sleet as well, and then it will transition to all snow very, very quickly as we move throughout the morning hours. All righty. Dan is on a vacation, a well-deserved vacation, though I have been keeping in contact with him. We've been working together on creating this forecast, so he's had a lot of input on it as well. But he's on vacation right now, and it's a well-deserved one, Jason. He needs it because he's been working really hard this year. Will there be icy roads on Thursday? Carla, yes, there will be icy roads on Thursday, especially north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. I just don't recommend traveling on Thursday. I really don't. And if you're trying to get somewhere for the holiday season, I know it's holiday travel season. I would recommend leaving tomorrow or leaving on Friday during the afternoon, because this is something you don't want to mess around with. I know it doesn't look like a lot, and there's still a chance not a lot could happen, but if it does, it's going to be bad. And blowing snow is no joke. Let's see here. What will it be like in OKC here on Thursday? You know what? I think OKC is going to be fine. Now, it's going to be cold. Here's the thing. Let me say this. Number one impact from the system is the cold, right? How cold it's going to get, that's bad. I mean, those temperatures below zero, that's no joke. That's something we rarely see here in northwest Arkansas. So OKC, while they may not get a lot of snow, right, you still could see quite a bit in the way of cold air. Temperatures below zero. Will there be icy roads on Friday? There could be, Paul. And the reason why is because the blowing snow threat's going to continue. Ground blizzard conditions, really, if you think about it. Because while we won't have precipitation falling from the sky, the grainy snow on the ground will be flying around everywhere. And that's going to be a struggle for the plows to get rid of. Just snow or snow and ice for Bentonville on Thursday morning. I think just a little shot of sleet in Bentonville on Thursday early morning, and then it's going to change over to snow very quickly. Let's see here. Chances of power outages in Bentonville, low but not zero because of how strong the winds are. So thankfully we don't have any ice, right, or freezing rain, and that's going to keep that from being a big factor, because if this was freezing rain, oh boy, I don't even want to think about it. I'm not even going to think about it. But chances of power outages in general are low for our area. Let's see here. 09 had the worst ice storm. That is correct. I remember that too when I was a young boy living in central Arkansas. What about the chances for freezing rain? Very low, but not zero. If it does, it's going to be very quick and a few hundredths of an inch at most, and that might even be pushing it. All right, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, says Timmy. Let it snow indeed. Okay here. Snow, still snow. White Christmas, says Scott. Yeah, the White Christmas chances are higher, and I'm going to show that graphic in just a moment. In fact, Scott, let me go ahead and show it to you right now because I promised it yesterday and I didn't. Here it is. I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see. Greater than 80% chance of a White Christmas if you live in Benton County and just a little bit east of there, I think. It's very likely to happen at this point. A little bit south into Fayetteville, I don't know if I'm quite as confident yet, but still greater than 50%. And then you get south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel and it drops off quickly. And unfortunately for you folks in the River Valley, I do have a less than 10% chance, but I did keep it not at zero, right? So it's still there. There's still a chance. But remember, a White Christmas is at least 1 inch of snow on the ground Christmas morning. And I don't know if we're going to get an inch of snow in the River Valley. But things can happen and things can throw a curveball at us, and we could potentially see a White Christmas still in the River Valley, but it's not looking nearly as great in the River Valley as it is in far northwest Arkansas. All righty, let's continue here. 2 to 4 inches in Bentonville or Bella Vista. I'm assuming you mean Bentonville, Lisa. I would say more along about 2 to 3. 4 might be pushing it. We'll see. But I would expect at least an inch in Bentonville, maybe even higher than that, for sure. Let's see here. No Fayetteville fizzle or Colby effect, Amanda? That's a good question. I've been talking to Colby. He's concerned about that as well. The Colby effect, it's a real thing. It can impact us for sure. We'll see what happens. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen, Amanda. That is for sure. If my kids weren't coming to my own apartment, I would say let it snow. That's funny. Is the European model tracking the low along 412? Honestly, David, I haven't looked yet. I'll have to look after I get off of this Facebook Live. I haven't looked at the latest model data. I'm exhausted right now. I've been working over 10 days in a row. It's going to keep going on throughout this week. This has been a very challenging forecast, so I'll look at the models after this, David. Here's the thing. At this point, I'm almost about done with the European and GFS at this point in the forecasting process because they just can't. They're just not good models at this point, right? They just can't pick up on the little things that could impact our chances. Just tuning in. We're planning to drive to Georgia Friday through Saturday via Memphis, Tupelo, Birmingham. What's the feeling on the road conditions? Kendra, Friday through Saturday, I think it'll be good. I think you will be fine, though I would take it easy on Friday if you're leaving in the morning because of the blowing snow and because of how cold it is. I think you'll be fine in Memphis and Tupelo and Birmingham. I don't think there'll be significant winter weather in any of those areas. But again, I would take it nice and easy on the roads. Will roads be cold enough for any precipitation to stick on the roads? Easily. Easily cold enough. No doubt about it. Overnight tonight, temperatures are going to fall into the middle 20s. I forgot to mention, we already had a cold front push through today, this evening. Temperatures are already well below freezing right now. And tomorrow is going to be in the upper 30s, lower 40s for highs. And once that system moves in, it's called a flash freeze for a reason. These roads are going to definitely be cold enough for it to stick. When will this hit? Thursday morning, throughout the late morning into the early afternoon, Amanda. Will XNA flights on Friday be delayed? Mark, that's a good question. That depends on what they think, right? It depends on how much blowing snow we're dealing with and what visibilities are like. It won't be snowing from the sky, I could tell you that much on Friday morning, but will it be a ground blizzard type deal? Potentially. It just depends. But XNA is at ground zero in Benton County. So potentially. Keep your pets, dogs nice and warm. That is a great point, Daniel. Bring your fur babies in. Even if they're outdoor dogs or cats, I would bring them in because this is dangerous. This is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Do you think winds affect the power lines on Thursday? If we had more freezing rain, maybe. I mean, we've seen 30, 35 mile an hour winds before. We've had problems before in the past, Daniel, but I don't think it's going to be widespread. However, with how cold it is, I expect to have reports of pipes bursting. So that's a bigger concern to me than the power outages at this point. Supposed to be driving to Pittsburgh, Kansas Friday. Will that even be possible? Natalie, yes. Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because we don't know until it happens. However, the further north you get, the greater the chance that it's going to be a full-on blizzard. Pittsburgh, Kansas, it's dicey Friday because of the winds. Though I don't think the winds will be quite as strong to the north. So the blowing snow threat may not be as high. Friday's dicey. Friday's just dicey in general. I would be very, very careful if I was driving Friday anywhere north of here. So it's possible, but would I do it? I don't think so. I would leave Wednesday or I would leave Saturday. Let's see here. Any weather report for Christmas Eve? Nice and dry and cold with temperatures in the teens for highs. In fact, I'll show you right here. Christmas Eve, we are expecting those temperatures to be in the upper teens, upper 20s for Christmas Day. But because of how cold it is, that means we could have a white Christmas in Northwest Arkansas. How long do you think the roads will stay icy? The cold temps are going to linger into the weekend. It just depends, Jenna, on the treatment process that the Arkansas Department of Transportation is doing. And it depends on the blowing snow, because if you got blowing snow, it can easily get back on the roadways again, even if you plow it. Is this forecast pretty reserved, or are you feeling pretty sure about it? James, I'm about 80% confident in my forecast. I'm going to be honest with you. The other 20% comes from the track of the system. If it goes a little farther north, we'll get less. If it goes a little farther south, we'll get more. But I do think we'll see snow. Nope. No repeat. What's the confidence on potential freezing rain, drizzle, glazing at trees? Very low. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get a lot of freezing rain. Any of the indication of the track heading further south than expected? Not really, Dex. The models have been pretty consistent with where this thing's going to go. Of course, things can change. If I was looking at this, right? If I was looking at this from a general public point of view, go look at the water vapor. Go look at those little subtle pieces of energy. That's what will really be more impactful than the track at this point, because I think the track's almost set in stone right now for this system. Now, could it change? Yes. But those little pieces of energy, those shortwave troughs or the shortwave lows, those are going to determine, if we get a little bit more or not, or a little bit less too. Could be less. Travel is going to definitely be better on Saturday. Definitely much better on Saturday, as a matter of fact, than what it's going to be on Friday. These amounts hold reservations. Yes, they do hold reservations, and it does hold reservations not only because it could go further south, James, but because it could go further north. Excuse me. When does it warm up? Good question, because I can show you right here. It warms up as we get into your Monday and Tuesday of next week. High temperatures back in the upper 30s, middle 40s, and beyond the scope of the 7-day forecast, back in the 50s. Are we going to have a white Christmas? It depends on where you are, Jonathan. If you're in Benton County, I'd be feeling pretty good right now. If I were in Washington County, I'd be feeling all right. If I was south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, I'd say, I don't know. Let's see here. Yep, time to go swimming. It's I don't know about that one, but it would be pretty funny if we saw a video of somebody doing that. That's a true polar plunge right there. I missed it. How much snow are we expecting, Joey? I'll go back to that map for you. Stand by. This is my forecast, by the way, on this. This is not any model run. This is our own forecast when it comes to how much snow we're expecting there. 30 to 35 mile an hour winds with gusts up to 40 miles per hour in terms of those wind speeds. What does next Tuesday look like? Nice and dry right now. Let's see here. Will roads be dangerous at first, Isaac? They are going to be very dangerous, especially if we've got blowing snow. Visibility is reduced to less than a quarter of a mile possible. And also the temperatures are just freezing. So if you get stranded out there, oh, it's not good. You don't want to get stranded in this. Most of the time, when people get stranded here in Northwest Arkansas, it's, temperatures are like around 25, 30 degrees. We can get somebody out there and get them what they need. When it's below zero and your car goes down and you get stranded, that's not good. That's very dangerous. I'm concerned about this system from that standpoint. I'm concerned more about the temperatures than I am the snow. The snow just adds more problems, though, because then you've got people, that go too fast on the roads. As simple as that. People simply go too fast in wintry conditions, especially when we're predicting like 1 to 3 inches of snow. Here's the problem. This is not going to be a wet snow that's going to melt on the roads really quickly. This is going to be a fine, powdery snow that'll blow on the roadways, that the plows can move out of the way, but it will come right back on. It will drift. It will shift. It will blow in your car windshield. You won't be able to see anything. And that's how problems happen. And I'm worried. I'm concerned about that because, you look at this amount of snow and you think, okay, that's not that much, but it is. It is for a system like this. So definitely the roads will be dangerous, Isaac, and they could be dangerous for quite a while. Do you think it'll be melted off by Monday? Yeah, I think the roads are going to be fine, to be honest, Kayla, Saturday and Sunday. Thursday and Friday is when they will be a little dicey. Saturday and Sunday, I think, will be all good because the winds are going to be dying down again, and that blowing snow will subside. What time will it start? Again, about 5, 6 o'clock, we could start seeing some sleet and snow pellets, maybe a little bit before that, maybe a little bit of drizzle before that, which would be bad. And then the snow will really ramp up right around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and head throughout the mid to late afternoon. All righty. Let's see here. If anybody has any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But I'm about to have to head on out because weather is leading off the Fox show. Mike, you got any questions for me?
How about what is the highest gust, the fastest gust of wind that we're expecting to see? Are we talking like 20 or like 40 miles per hour?
I could see a 50-mile-an-hour gust somewhere.
50?
I could. Southwest Missouri, Benton County.
Oh, my.
Ground blizzard. I mean, look, and like, when people hear blizzard, right, they think, okay, a lot of snow, crazy things going on, right? But you can have a dusting of snow and have a blizzard because the winds are blowing so fast and it blows the snow everywhere.
Right.
And, I'm not saying we're going to have a blizzard. We probably won't, because to have a blizzard, you have to have 3 hours of sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or more and visibility reduced to a quarter of a mile, which we will have for a brief period of time, but not a whole time. But that's why we're talking about blizzard-like conditions.
Wow.
But I'm going to say right now there's going to be a 50-mile-an-hour gust somewhere with the system.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It means business.
No kidding.
Yes. All righty, folks. I'm going to go ahead and log off now because I'm leading off the Fox show. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. I'll be back here with some more Facebook Lives tomorrow. And other than that, keep it groovy. See ya.